Okay, let's have a look at smuggling. Smuggling, of course, is the crime of bringing goods into the UK without paying the required amount of tax. Becomes a particular problem in the early modern period, in the 18th century in particular. During this period, the government raised taxes on a whole series of goods, primarily luxury goods being brought into England, and as a consequence, criminals found that they could bring these goods into the country and then sell them and make a good profit out of that. The goods they were bringing in, silks, tobaccos and spirits. How did people view these crimes? Well, to a large extent, they had great sympathy with the smugglers themselves. They thought the taxes were too high. They could become involved with the smuggling itself. They could earn much more in one night of smuggling than they could earn in a week of farm labouring. So they were complicit in the crimes often, or even if they weren't involved, they would often turn a blind eye, not seeing the crime, not seeing the punishment, which of course smuggling would carry the death penalty. It was a capital offence. Not seeing the punishment as fitting the crime, so they had great sympathy with many of the smugglers. Local people were actively involved in the smuggling of goods. Did the government find it easy to apprehend smugglers? No, not at all. The coast of England, or the coast of Britain, as you know, is many hundreds of miles long. It's very difficult to police. There was no police force. They relied on customs and excise men to try and do this. It was a very difficult job for them. There was a huge difference between the official view of smuggling, which was that it was a capital offence, and if you were caught and if you used violence, you would be hung, and the public view of smuggling, which was often, to turn a blind eye to it, to be involved in it, and to not see it as a terrible thing. In many ways, similar to the way we look at some forms of smuggling today. We may see drug smuggling as a very harmful thing, but other forms of smuggling, pirate DVDs or pirating music, we tend to disregard as a very serious offence. So a similarity between the 18th century and contemporary attitudes towards smuggling. However, whilst there was great public indifference to the harsh punishments for some of the smugglers, we know that some of them were very, very vicious criminals who would not hesitate to use violence if necessary. And the most famous of these smuggling gangs were the Hawkhurst gang, who were active all the way from the Kent coast all the way around to Dorset, and were a very, very disciplined, organised gang of smugglers who used violence to get what they wanted to do. Smuggling has its golden age, if you like, during the 18th century, but of course is a crime that is still with us today. That's smuggling. Just to remind you,